the theme for engaging India at Almedalen this year is Sambandh for the climate. What are the new frontiers of innovation and Sambandh or cooperation between Sweden and India, especially when it comes to industry, academia and government, or the triple helix that we know it as?
Thank you, Rupali, for that question. And as you know, there is a long-standing and ongoing collaboration in this field between our two countries. And it really covers the entire spectrum, ranging from the renewable energy to energy efficiency to energy storage possibilities, and also decarbonization in many sectors. And it takes various forms of collaboration, from business to business, industry collaboration, co-development of cleaner technologies. There are joint calls by government agencies. These are co-funded by as many as 5 agencies from each side sometimes. There are R&D centers of Swedish companies which are based in India coming. There are solutions coming out from there. Mm-hmm. There are also Indian professionals who are working in many of these companies here. Then we also have Indian IT digital service companies who are providing complete sustainability solutions to many of the Swedish partners. So there is a whole range of activities that are ongoing. And also these cover the entire spectrum of the industry, and especially the sectors which are essential to infrastructure, let's say mobility or steel or cement, going on to energy, even space now. Mm-hmm. So in each sector, whether you are talking of how to make steel more greener in terms of the energy that it uses, or the cement, whether you can use electrification process or use some other raw material. So it really covers the entire spectrum of climate action.
And that's very encouraging to hear. And I'm going to build on that question a little more. India and Sweden, how can perhaps India and Sweden work together for climate solutions that's available to the world, and also one that is fair, just and equitable when we talk about climate action?
In a more let's say advocacy or norm setting field, again the collaboration between India and Sweden is really long standing and unique. So it goes back at least 50 years to the 1972 conference, on the first UN conference on environment that Sweden hosted. Mm-hmm. And at that time India was the only other country which participated at the head of government level. That conference then later led to the establishment of the UN Environment Program. It also led to many other concepts of equity and fairness coming into play, into the discourse. So it really goes back to that time. And more recently, around 4 or 5 years back in 2019, mm-hmm. Both our countries jointly launched the platform called the Leadership Group for Industry Transition, the Lead It. Mm-hmm. And that really brings together countries and companies. It has 40 members now. It brings together large companies, small companies, countries which are at different levels of development. So the concerns of and the priorities of across the sector are covered in this, and it is very inclusive. And recently at the COP28 in Dubai, the Prime Ministers Modi and Ulf Kristersson, they launched the second phase of Lead It, because it was quite successful in knowledge sharing and other aspects. And now it's looking at how companies and other stakeholders can come together to co-develop technologies which mm-hmm. can be dispersed, which can also look at investment and funding solutions, which are really the challenges of Global South. So we are working very closely also on that, in that sphere.
These are interesting developments. They're also happening at a time when it is a changing global landscape. Now, the world does see India playing an increasingly important role. Now, how is India's position in the global world order really tied to how it is seen as a partner and somebody who, and a nation that is cooperative and collaborative?
So if you look at India now, it represents 1/6 of the global population. It is the 5th largest economy, the fastest growing large economy. So all these factors make it a country which really is and it's a democracy, the largest democracy. So it's a very, it is natural to partner with India on many aspects. So if you look at across the global concerns of the day, be it climate, be it development stages that many of the countries are still trying to rise, or the security aspects, many of these challenges require collaboration. And these days, economies to security to prosperity are all interlinked and interconnected. And it is in that context that India is partnering with its friends and across the development divide, so to say. If you look at climate, India is really, lead it was one example, but also in the negotiations, at the climate negotiations, India takes up the causes which are of concern to the global south. Last year, India was held the presidency of the G20, and that was the time when African Union was admitted as a member after such a long time. India had worked very closely for that. India had also consulted the countries of the global south ahead of the G20 summit to see how those concerns can be reflected from prices of food, fuel, debt, etc. Also, if we go to other areas, let's say education or health, for example, during COVID, India was able to contribute through grants by giving vaccines to almost 100 countries and also exported to a much larger number.
Yes.
So many of these areas India has been partnering. In terms of humanitarian relief, India is now one of the first responders in the Indian Ocean region. Very recently, you may have read that Indian humanitarian relief reached Papua New Guinea after one of their natural disasters. Off the coast of Yemen and Somalia, India had deployed 12 naval ships recently to counter piracy and other threats. So whichever domain you take, India is really contributing to the shared collective concerns.
And that's very encouraging to hear, Ambassador. We will, of course, get you back on stage to hear more about, you touched upon the leadership group for industry transition, and I think that's something which would be very interesting for our audience to hear as well. So in the second session, we would like to hear more on that. But thank you so much, Ambassador Lal, for answering these questions, and thank you for being a part of Engaging India at Almedalen.
Thank you. Thank you.